You built the business. Now, build the man. This is the Ben Price Experience.
Michael, welcome to the Ben Price Experience.
Thanks for having me.
Well, thank you for being here. My first question is, who are you and why are you here?
Why am I here? Because you asked me to. And who I am, Google it, anyone listening. Now we're gonna need to start again. Where you are on the swearing front, I can be just, I'm swearing actually, but I don't need to swear. Like this is not something that's uncontrollable. It's like, oh shit, I didn't realize, it's like I think it's called Tourette syndrome when you just have those like, it's not,
wherever you're most comfortable, wherever.
Sure. So there's gonna be lots of swearing. People say, no, for sure. No. My arrogance is performative. It's not an actual arrogance.
Yeah.
As people who get to know me learn quite quickly. But it's definitely there. I just say what I think, like the first thing that comes to my mind often, and it's like, oh, that's a bit arrogant. It's like, well, okay, that's offending. Okay, stay offended. I don't give a shit. Who are you anyway? A stranger got offended by something I said on LinkedIn. Like, okay. So
a lot of us are trying to be unoffensive and small and,
Yeah, no, I don't do that. As you know, I'm not interested in that. Anyway, I'm ready, properly ready whenever you are.
Okay. Michael Serwa, who are you and why are you here?
I've been coaching people over the last 14 and a half years. I'm known for my no bullshit style of coaching, which comes very naturally to me. Given that I'm Eastern European, and I was born and raised in Poland. I spent the first 22 years there, and then when I started coaching back in 2011, within a year and a half, I found my niche, if you will, in this particular style of coaching. But it was clear to me that this style of coaching is basically an extension of my personality, right? So I didn't have to make any changes. I was just being I've embraced being true to myself, right? And just telling people what I thought. And sure enough, as I've learned, there is more than enough people who find value in it. And yeah, over time, I became known for it. I also refer to myself as a coach for the elite. And by elite, I mean elite mindset more than anything else. Ben has definitely nothing to do with upbringing or education. I don't have any formal education myself. How the fuck would I be selective using that as one of the criteria? Right? Like, sorry, did you go to? Oh no, I'm sorry. You didn't go to Eton College. Sorry, I don't think that's gonna work for us, right? So, but definitely, I have absolutely no interest in working with losers, anyone with a victim mentality. I wish those people all the best, genuinely, but I don't want to be in the same room as them. Right? That's not the energy I want to be exposed to. I'm not interested in negativity of any kind either. A little complaint here and there. I complain as well sometimes, I try not to, but, I'm only a human. So I'll let my client, one or the other, complain for maybe up to 10, 15 seconds. And I will ask them, are you done? Anything else to complain about? Or we can fucking get on with what we need to work on, anything else to whine about? Yeah. Not last time the client was whining, but last time a male client was whining over WhatsApp or something a few years ago, I basically, what did I say to him when he was just whining about something? He was just having a bad day and he was whining about something, right? And I just said one sentence. I said, "You need a tampon." So that's my style of coaching for you, Ben, in a nutshell.
Fair enough. It's funny that you've said that because yesterday one of my clients did a little video testimonial for me and he said they'd been to loads of therapy and in therapy it didn't work for him because he'd just been going there and allowed to kind of complain and allowed to sit in and ruminate in his thought processes. And he came to see me and I just said, that's bullshit, basically. And I just didn't let it fly. It sounds like your style is fairly similar.
I see that as one of the biggest gifts I can give to someone, brutal honesty. And when you think about it, especially when you work with people who are very senior career-wise, high net worth individuals, which is a fair percentage of my clients, they don't have many people, if anyone, in their life who's not a yes man. It's usually a guy and he's the provider. So yeah, his wife will bust his balls, left, right, and center, but that's different than, a wife busting your balls. That's different to getting constructive criticism or feedback. So if you are this main provider, yes, your wife might be busting your balls. It might be a female. Your husband might be busting your balls, right? Could be the other way. I work with some very successful women as well. But if you are a main provider, like the power dynamic will always be skewed towards you, right? Because you are the one providing for the family, right? And then, especially if you run your own business, everybody who works for you, and therefore there's going to be a limit as to how much honesty you can expect to get from the people who work for you, who are on your payroll, right? So unless you have some very honest and direct friends, which let's don't forget, it's not friends' job to tell us things, right? Like we expect friends to just sit there and listen and oh, okay, I hear you. Yeah, a bit like fucking therapist, right? Just like, oh yeah, okay, oh yeah, yeah. How does it make you feel, kind of thing, right? So then, where do you go, right? Where do you need to go if you are serious about? You're already successful, but you are serious about self-development and you want to become a better version of yourself. Like, where do you go? And therefore, the people who find me and then we end up working together. As I said before, I find that directness, and they know that I have the best interest in mind, right? So like they know that no matter what I say, how harsh I might be sometimes, which I'm not harsh. I'm not harsh very often because I don't need to be, right? Because when you work with high performers, they don't need to be fucking whipped, like that guy that I mentioned.
They're already whipping themselves, right?
Exactly. That tampon guy, I only had to say something like that once. And we've worked together for, I can't remember, over a year. Right? So it's just like a one-liner and that's it. Okay. It's like not to whine over that's not the person who's interested in whining. Because I'm not, like in general, right? Like from anybody, including clients, right? It's just not what I'm interested in. Like being on the receiving end of fucking bitching and whining and fucking complaining is just like, okay, you lost your job. I understand. What we're gonna do about it? Somebody broke up with you. Okay, what are we gonna do about it? Right? Like, just okay. Yeah, I hear you. Like, I understand what the problem is. So we don't need to talk about the problem anymore. Let's talk about the solution. Right? One of the key differences between coaching and therapy, as you know, one is problem focused for the most part, and the other one is solution focused for the most part. Right? So we obviously represent the coaching industry here, and yeah, it's what other coaches do, how they do it with their client, that's none of my business. That's between them and the clients. But I know that my clients who have no interest in that type of coaching or therapy sometimes, yes. So they go to therapists and but that's obviously, as you know, that's a very different tool. That's like using hammer when you need a fucking screwdriver or vice versa.
Have many of your clients, have they been to therapy in the past and found it hasn't worked?
I wouldn't say many. I would say some.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe 20% have either done therapy in the past. Some of them have a therapist right now, and they work with me on what they work with me on, and they work with the therapist at the same time, right? And I'm absolutely not against therapy. There is time and place for therapy. I have a problem with some therapists, but also have a problem with some coaches. I have a problem with some of any. So like therapy done well by an honest therapist who is not trying to fucking keep you as a client forever, right? And not tell you the shit that they tell to people sometimes, how the therapy process never ends. It never ends. Or I heard on 2 occasions, you won't be something along the lines of like how you won't be able to not live without me, but like how you won't be able to like, operate and be happy without me. Like, what the fuck? Right? Like, like my sister shared a story of her friend who was doing therapy for 8 years. And on the back of conversation with my sister, who's a psychologist as well, she's a degree in psychology and works in HR, whatever, back in Poland. And anyway, they were talking and it became apparent to my sister that this friend of hers has been doing therapy for as long as she's been doing it for 8 years, and she's getting fuck all out of it. So my sister just asked a simple question, like, why do you continue? Like, just a simple question, right? Just like a logical question, no? And this friend of hers, anyway, long story short, she went to break up with her therapist, and I think it's a woman. She didn't take it very well, right? And she pulled one of those, you need me kind of thing. And I'm just like, when I hear stories like that, I want to just take those therapists and beat the shit out of them, right? Because it's just so unethical and just wrong, right? And you have someone who feels this strong connection with you because they've been talking to you for an hour every fucking week for the last 2, 3, 5, 8 years in this case. What
Yeah.
you say to them matters, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
not like you meet somebody for the first time, they say something to you, and like and having this power dynamic and then saying things like that to people is just I've always had a problem with it, and I will forever have a problem with it.
Yeah, you have a responsibility. I mean, I've been a personal trainer. So when I left the military, I became a personal trainer. And
I know.
I didn't really like that model because you kind of have to keep your clients. And I get bored. I'm like, I want to sort your problem, and then I'm on to the next problem. And if you don't have another problem, well, it's boring.
Yeah, I mean, I've had clients that I've worked with for, it's rare. I had 2 clients I've worked with for 3 years. I had some clients I've worked with for anywhere between 1 year and 2 years, but it's never been a case of me making them
No.
continue, right? And
They're
yes, to your
evolving.
point, like after a while, but like I didn't feel bored working with them because they're just so interesting, right? But if it was like an average person, then yeah, after a few meetings, I would probably be like, it would be nice to end it. So it wasn't a case, but especially when you work with high achievers, as you can imagine, especially those ultra high achievers, there's always something to work. There's
Yeah.
always something going on, right?
Especially if
Because
they're entrepreneurial.
yeah, exactly, right? So it's not like we would, those 2 clients I had for 3 years. It's not like we were working on the same thing. We were trying to solve the same problem for 3 years. That's absolutely not the case, right? Coaching as a vehicle, unlike therapy or personal training, which often lasts years, coaching typically lasts a few months up to a year, and that's it. So whenever a coach is trying to tell someone that, well, so I'll be like, what the fuck were you doing with this client for the last 12 months if they still need you after 12 months? I want my clients not to need me after a few months, right? That's the goal. So when they continue, which happens sometimes, they continue because they want to, not because they feel like they need to because we didn't get the job done.
Yeah.
But anyway, each to their own. It's just, yeah, anything for me, anything to do around ethics and morality and things like, it's just like, I'm passionate about it, right? I have a fucking problem with it, right? Especially if it's to do within the field of, within a personal development, which obviously is my field, my beloved field, right? I'm like, no, that's fucking bullshit, right? So every opportunity I get, you give me the opportunity, right? So I appreciate that. I will fucking rant about it. I will talk about it, but we can move on.
No, it's good. It's good. It's something that, I've signed up for programs and courses, and I find that it wasn't until I had a coach who, I don't know if you know Sanyika. Have you ever come across Sanyika?
Mm.
He's a phenomenal. Yeah, he was the only one who really helped me see my power. I would say he was the only actual coach that I'd ever had, really. Most of the other guys were like coaches, as in like they tell you what to do and follow what they tell you to do, and that's all there is to it. Whereas he really helped me see my power.
Awesome.
What's a common insecurity that most of the men in particular or high performers have that you work with?
I'm thinking about imposter syndrome, and the reason I'm thinking or taking the time is because I'm asking myself whether I would refer to imposter syndrome as insecurity. But I suppose that's what you're asking about, right? Like a limiting belief, insecurity, something like that, right? So imposter syndrome is definitely on the top of the list there. The amount of people who are, in the eyes of society, very accomplished, established, the type of people that society would absolutely not expect to have imposter syndrome of any kind, who actually have imposter syndrome of some sort is staggering, right? It took me a few years to connect the dots, but I definitely had this realization after working with people, after coaching for a few years, how no matter how successful someone might look on the outside, when you actually start talking to them, get to know them, obviously people come to us, they don't come to us to tell that everything is rosy, right? And their life is 10 out of 10, right? So there's going to be something, but we're talking about the imposter syndrome and limiting beliefs. Yeah, someone might be extremely, extremely accomplished and be riddled with all sorts of limiting beliefs at the same time. It's just that they probably won't talk about it on fucking LinkedIn, right? They won't add it to the LinkedIn bio, right? And they won't stream lives on Instagram talking about it, right? So then the average person who look at those people and think, wow, if I was to be them, if I was to get to this level, surely like my life, no. The path towards happiness is not career success or becoming a celebrity. Far from it. Is through personal development. There's no other path to happiness other than personal development, working on yourself, right? And we occasionally get a confirmation of what I'm talking about when we hear about high-profile suicide. People who on paper have everything fucking decide to call it a day. And people go, huh? He or she had everything. Well, no, just because they looked like they had everything doesn't mean they actually had everything, right? And it's very sad. And what's particularly tricky for those people, for very successful people, when it comes to not having a great time in life, having problems in life, is that when you think about it, Ben, when you are broke, when you are fat, when you are, I don't know, disabled, and you complain about your life, then everybody's like, oh, fair enough, don't worry, it's gonna be okay, if you are fat, it's probably because you have thick bones, it's not your fault, right? It's a food industry fault, it's not your fault, right? Sure, it's a food industry's fault. So those people can complain and get quote unquote get away with it, right? But when you think about a successful person complaining, they don't, because they're not gonna get any sympathy from anyone other than me, perhaps. Because I understand that one can be very successful, as I've learned, right? One can be extremely successful and not particularly happy at the same time, and it's their fucking right as well. So I stand for the rich people. I stand for the successful people, right? Because there's enough people standing already for the poor and the fat and the disabled and they get a lot of support from everyone because oh, don't worry, everything's gonna be okay, right? But what about successful people? Who's to say that if you're successful, you can't have problems? Of course, you're gonna have fucking problems. You're gonna have as many problems, if not more problems, than the young, broken, unfit person.
Yeah.
Especially when you look at someone like Elon Musk. I'm not a fan of Elon Musk, but fuck me, this guy has more problems than the average person. He has more money than the average person, right?
Yeah.
A little bit more. But can you imagine? Can you fucking imagine running the amount of companies of the size of his companies all at the same time while raising, I've lost fucking count of how many kids he has at the same time, right? And the constant scrutiny. Like I said, I'm not his fan. I'm like objectively observing or commenting on what his life must be, right? I mean, this guy has so many fucking problems. So to look at him and be like, he's a billionaire, he's complaining about something, shut the fuck up. You shouldn't complain because you are a billionaire, multi-billionaire in his case, right? No, I stand for the billionaires. The right to complain too, and the millionaires and multi-millionaires, and just everybody has the right to and then it's like, what can we do for those people? How can you help them?
Yeah, I was researching it quite recently that especially for veterans, the suicide rate is double.
I know.
And that is likely because we are taught to detach from our emotional experience of the world. You can't be having too many feelings when you're going to war. Then you're removed from that situation and everybody looks at you like you're hard. Do you know what I mean? You've got it all together. And then that's what they expect from you. So it's weird if you were to complain about how you felt. And I imagine it must be really similar.
Yeah, it's a good analogy because yes, as I said, I'm familiar with the suicide rate for veterans. But yeah, it's a similar thing. It's toughness or perceived strength displayed in a different way. So here in a physical, here more in a monetary kind of terms. Either way, you shouldn't fucking complain about it. Be tough. Like, you have no right to complain. Be tough. You still, I don't. Yeah, whether you are a soldier or a business person, no matter how successful, you're still a human, right? Like, one of the things I've learned is that at the core of everyone, a young person, older person, successful person, less successful person, very similar sets of fears and desires. Yeah. So what's on the outside is different, right? Some people are taller, some people are prettier, some people are richer, whatever. But at the core, we're so fucking similar. That's why I could never understand, even like long before I became a coach, racism. How is that a thing? Racism, like, you have a problem with this person because the color of the skin is different to yours. What the fuck is wrong with you? How is that a thing in 2000, whatever it was, like, you know, or like homophobe, anything like that? It's like, why? Like, yes, it's different sexual preferences. It's not the one that you have. So fucking what? Like, where's the harm? How is this person choosing to have sex with this guy, choosing to have sex with, not choosing, because it's not a choice, having sex with other? How is that a problem for you, you fucking bigot? Right? Like, can we just fucking get along, all get along, you know? Try to get along as much as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. What are the similarities that we all have?
Well, we're all gonna die. That's one. That's an obvious one.
Imagine they're all reasonably obvious in a way, but
yeah, we're all gonna die. So that's like another thing. Is like, oh, like I'm better. Like, no, we're all gonna die eventually. The pursuit of happiness is another one, and I think we all share it. The differences between people who admit it versus people who don't admit it, but I think the pursuit is there for everyone.
Pursuit.
Most people, like, you know, pursuing happiness. And again, you know, those, like the guys that you mentioned, for example, like the veteran, like the guys, perhaps they'll be less likely to say, I want to be happy than maybe, you know, a 30-year-old female working in marketing, you know. And it's unfortunate because they both want the same thing. She talks about it openly because she's like, yeah, I want to be fucking happy. What do I need to do to be happy? Whereas this guy might be, like trained to, like, to your point, previous point, trained to think that, you know, just fucking just bottle it in, be a man. And it was like, what idea is that? You know, being a man, meaning that, you know, you have to be strong at all times and never cry and never feel sad. Like, to me, this is as stupid of an idea or a concept as racism that I was just talking about. It's like, what the fuck? It's like, how we are different, you know. Like, you are a tough guy. I identify myself as a tough guy. I feel sad as fuck sometimes. I don't cry often, but I always get fucking, like, I'll get teary eyes, like, for no reason. You know, I'll just feel sad to the point of just like fuck, you know. And I have a 10 out of 10 life.
Yeah.
Right? And I have, like, on paper, I have everything. Everything. And I've had it for many years. And I still fucking wake up feeling, or like in the middle of the day, not now, you know, you keeping me afloat. And today, you know, like today I felt good the whole day, but like it's not like, oh, sometimes, as in few times per year, I feel sad. No, it's fucking few times per month for no particular reason, right? Why? Because it's one of the most basic fucking human emotions. And with all my fucking bravado, I'm still a human, obviously, right? So therefore, I'm not immune to the feelings that everybody else feels. The difference is that because first of all, I expect to have those emotions or experience those emotions sometimes. So when they come, I don't try to fucking just, oh, I'm gonna listen. If I feel sad, I'm gonna listen to some happy music to, like, get myself out of my funk I found myself in.
Yeah, or taking drugs, or like drinking, or
I would just so I will try to, like, not distract. Like, substance would be a distraction. Don't get me wrong, I drink my fucking wine, but I drink because I like it, not because I feel sad, right? When I feel sad, it's usually in the morning or in the afternoon. I never drink during the day, like, as a policy, right? So, but yes, it's like, okay, I feel sad. Why? No reason. Is that a problem? No. Is this ideal? No. But is that a problem? No, not really. I'm not, like, canceling meetings or fucking, you know, writing moany fucking posts on LinkedIn, right? I'm just recognizing what's happening in my body. I feel sad. I check, is there a reason? No. So there's nothing to fix, therefore. It's just a feeling. It's going to go away. I'm going to go into my meeting and it's just going to go away, right? And no matter how sad, I didn't today, but no matter how sad I would feel prior to our conversation, the very interaction with you would snap me out of it immediately, right? So, you know, on a practical level, what the best thing we can do when we feel sad, it's not the substances, which I'm not against. When I say I'm not against, just to be more specific, I'm not against the lighter substances like alcohol, weed, you know, like coffee. I wouldn't even call coffee a substance in that sense, right? But you know what I mean, right? So heroin, maybe fucking stay away from. I don't know, crack cocaine, maybe fucking. If you are over 20 and you're taking coke regularly, it's like, come on, fucking grow up. Right? It's like, come on, like, there's a time and place for everything, but, you know, let's be fucking smart. So But what I'm going with this is it's not the substance. And this is going to be the most fucking hippie I'm going to say this during this whole conversation. See if you can do something for somebody else. Because when you think about it, you cannot simultaneously try to help someone and feel sorry for yourself at the same time. You can't do this. You can't do, well, you can try. I've never been able to be in act of service, which I am on a regular basis through my work, right? I've never managed to be in an act of service and feel sorry for myself at the same time. Like they say, men are not good at multitasking. This might have to do with that. But, and like I said, and this is obviously, I'm not here to like help you with anything other than, record a decent piece of material, but it's just go out and talk to people if you feel sad. So like for me, I don't need to do anything because I know that when I feel sad, it's very temporary. It's gonna go away, right? Like within hours. But the worst thing one could do is which is what most people do, they isolate themselves, and that's because that's most natural thing to do. So I understand. I can emphasize with that because it's like, if I was to wake up with a big fucking spot in the middle of my forehead, my natural thinking would be like, oh fuck, I just wanna be away from people, right? So it's a little bit like with the feeling of sadness. The natural instinct is to like hide, but unlike the spot things, it doesn't make any difference. When we feel sad or suboptimal, the best thing we can do is to go out and be with other people. Ideally, not people who are even sadder than us. As I said before, I'm not interested in being in the same room with fucking complainers and negative people because then I can feel that negative energy and I don't want it. I'm not interested.
Yeah.
So there's definitely a way, as you know, to talk about problems or opportunities, as I like to call them, without being negative about it.
Do you think a lot of men know how they're feeling?
No. A percentage of men, that's definitely less than 50%, because so there's gonna be a group of men who will not even like to think about them being someone who feels things, right? They associate thinking about feelings, emotions, or talking about it with something that women do, which is obviously nonsense, right? Not that women don't do it. They do a lot of it, right? They are the inventors of it. Just kidding. But, they obviously have no problem with telling us how they feel. And I think that's directly related to, I'm sidetracking slightly. I think that's directly related to the fact that there's 3 male suicides in the UK for every 1 female suicide. So it's 4x, which is like why? Right? The best I can explain is like how women are significantly better than us when it comes to fucking talking about how they feel, right? We're gonna find out how they feel whether we want it or not in a romantic relationship, right? Like we don't need to fucking ask. She will fucking let us know, right?
Yeah.
So they are fucking, and all her friends will know about it at the same time, right? Whereas a man, your quote unquote typical man, will carry that shit with him, and then in extreme cases he'll fucking check out because he can't carry the burden anymore because it's so heavy, right?
Yeah.
So no, that's the fucking problem. That's the fucking problem. Like we are. I often say that we as men, we are fucking emotionally retarded.
Yeah.
We are fucking we are emotional retards. We're like, oh, we are so good, we are so clever, top chefs are male and top fucking scientists are male for the most part. We are like our analytical brain is like, like, oh, we love to solve problems. Okay. So yes, we are better at that than women. But when it comes to emotions, or when it comes to feelings, obviously that's a different story, right? And then when it comes to having a happy life, which is the ultimate goal, as far as I'm concerned, for all of us, or it should be, like how can I be as happy as possible? And what's more important when you think about it, right? To be great analytically, or to be in touch with your emotions and feelings, right? When it comes to happiness, right? So yeah, but we don't have to choose. It's not one or the other. It's both, right? And Elon Musk is a great example. Coming back to good old Elon, he's a great example of someone who has done tremendously well in one area of his life while completely neglecting two others, which is big ones, which is happiness on one hand and then health and fitness on the other. And therefore he's an unhappy billionaire.
Yeah, he often will say, "You do not want my life."
Yeah, and I know that's like Michael, how do you know this? Like, have you worked with Elon Musk? You know Elon Musk. You said you don't like him. I've watched or listened to a podcast with the guy Walter Isaacson. I have the Steve Jobs biography here. So the same guy wrote a Elon Musk biography, and he was interviewed on the Diary of a CEO podcast. And Steven just asked him straight up, because Walter spent a lot of time with Elon working on this biography. And Stephen, at some point in this interview from maybe a year ago or a year and a half ago, he asked him straight up if Elon is happy, and Walter, not Walton, Walter, without taking a second to think about it, Ben, just went no. And then when it comes to health and fitness, we don't need to ask anyone. We can just look at Elon. He's not obese, but you know this stuff better than me. What's his fat percentage? I can make an estimate, but you can probably make it better. But it's not even the fat percentage, because I have clients with the same or even higher fat percentage, but so they carry more weight, more fat than they need, but they're active. They go to the gym, right? Whereas I don't think that's the case with Elon. You know, Mark Zuckerberg, that's a different story. There you go, Elon. You can be a fucking nerd, right? A billionaire, and be super fit at the same time, right? There you go.
These are the guys, though. So what I've noticed, are you familiar with King, Warrior, Magician, Lover? So these are archetypes of a man. We have the inner warrior, the inner king, the inner magician, the inner lover. And the magician is the part of us who's the really smart, the thinker, the problem solver. And in each archetype, there's a shadow. And part of the shadow of the magician is the manipulator. So I've realized that people like Elon Musk, they're incredible magicians.
Yeah.
They are world-class magicians. And a lot of the smart people that have figured out the algorithm of how to sell stuff and how to manipulate you to buy their thing and to follow them on social media or whatever. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but in isolation, it's not a whole man. It's not a happy man. A happy man is a king. He has passed through all of those levels and kind of figured it all out and got out of his shadows. Yeah, I think it's interesting when you look at some of the role models that we have in society, the celebrities, they're not whole happy people, but like you said, they appear to.
You mean the role models that some people have, not that we have?
That's true.
It's just to make it clear, they are not my role models. I have zero role models.
Yeah. Well, I saw Alex Hormozy. So he was a role model of mine for a while, I would say. I saw him get interviewed with Tony Robbins. And what was really good about it is I feel like I haven't always liked all of what Tony Robbins has said and done, but I thought that was really good. He just has leveled up. He's like in his king energy, and he brought out the lover part of Hormozy, and that's obviously a suppressed part of him. He's just a great magician. He's just phenomenal at all of these things. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know. I haven't seen the interview. I'm well familiar with both of those mentioned gentlemen. I respect both of them. I like one of them, but yeah, I'm at a phase of life where, like I said, I don't have role models anymore. We go through phases, right? So like in my 20s, in my early to mid 30s, I would still be. I'm not saying I'm not learning anymore. I'm learning fucking something every day, right? But then there's a point. I'm 43 now, right? There's a point where you arrive as a man. Well, not men get to that point, but if you play your cards right, if you do the work, you will arrive at some point, and then you no longer, in my mind, no one is better than me. People who are better than me at some things, but fundamentally no one is better than me. And that's been the case for many years, like in my head, right? So therefore, the idea of having role models is just like, I've had those like growing up, right? But then you want to arrive. You don't want to spend your whole life until you're fucking 80, 90, 100 having role models. Yeah. You want to become a fucking role model.
Yeah, well, right? You're the king now.
Yeah, it's like I'm in my fucking castle, I have my servants, just kidding. They off for the weekend. So I had to make my own fucking tea just before. I mean, what the fuck? How can you live like that? But No, but yeah, it took me 34 years. I got into personal development at 23, and by 34, I knew who I was. So after 11 years, after being around for 34 years and doing 11 years of rather intense personal development work, and I remember the day, I remember the time when I feel like, you know what, I've arrived. Not to say, oh, you know, I will never, like I said, I'm learning something every day, right? But I've been living my 10 out of 10 life for the last 9 years. Simple math. 34, I'm 43 now, so 9 years of living my truth, if you will, right? And it's been great. It's been fantastic, right? And now I don't care, Tony Robbins, Alex Hermosi, I'm so fucking happy for them. Good for them, you know, like, fuck, Elon Musk, good for you, you know? That's one of the things that you get when you arrive as a man. There's no envy.
Yes.
There's no like, oh, I wish to have this car. I wish to have that amount of money. I wish to have. It's like, just like, fantastic. I'm happy for you. But whatever it is, you know, unless you are a dictator, then I wish you fucking death. But other than that, I just peace and love to everybody. You know, because I've arrived. I have everything I need. I've had everything I need or needed over the last 9 years already. I have no goals. I have no desires. I have little goals, but no serious goals. If you ask me what are your goals, I don't have any. But don't you want to like improve? Like, yes, we're talking about refining something that's already perfect. I'm not saying I'm perfect, but my life is perfect. Perfect for me, right? So the only thing I can do or think about doing are refinements to my already perfect life, which I've built, you know, for the first 34 years. I've been building for the first 34 years of my life, right? So now, no matter who the person is, how old they are, how much money they have, how successful they are, I see them as peers. There's no, I'm here and they here. Certainly, it works the other way as well. I never see myself as being above somebody else. So like, I'm here and somebody else is here, you know, because they're young or because they are not very smart or because they are broke. I was broke for the first 30 years of my life. How could I see broke people as, you know, inferior to me? Like, I was broke for the first 30 years of my life. I've never been fat. I've never been as fit as I am now. But, sorry, no, I haven't always been as fit as I am now. I've never been fat, but like, I don't look at fat people and think, oh my God, you know, I'm better than them because I have a 15% body fat percentage and they have 50, right? How is that making me better than them?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
I think
So
that's
it's like,
very
yeah.
important. Yeah. I think that's an important thing. I was talking to a guy the other day about him, king, you know, becoming a king is about leveling up your status and believing that you are a high status individual. And he sort of took that as, oh, well, but then I have to be better than other people. I was like, no, that's not what it is. It's about realizing that you are great. So is everyone else, but you are as well.
Yeah, but it's like, I don't know I know what the archetype is. I'm not familiar with those archetypes you mentioned, right? You know, when I talk about becoming a man, one of the things that happen when you arrive as a man, you don't think about other people that much. You think about other people in the context of wanting to help them or asking yourself, how can you make their life better? But you stop comparing yourself to other people, is what I'm trying to say. That's them. That's not me. I'm gonna focus on myself. Like it's about me and what I'm interested in and what makes me happy and the impact I want to make. There's no more comparing, right? It's like, it's one of those things when you're just like, fuck, you feel so much lighter because there's no more comparing, right? But unfortunately, this is not something, no matter to what degree one can understand what I'm talking about intellectually, understanding it intellectually in itself means fuck all. There's no shortcuts. Coaching, having a coach is a shortcut. But still, even with the help of a coach, this is not something that can happen overnight. You cannot arrive as a man overnight. It's a process. It's like how does a kung fu master becomes a kung fu master? Well, not by understanding in principle the right, the technique of kung fu, right? It's
you can't read a kung fu book.
Exactly. So it's the same with becoming a man. You know, like having a dick doesn't make you a man, right? It makes you a biological male, right? And this is nothing to do with like the trans. That's like, I'm talking about having a, you know, having a dick doesn't make you a man, right? You can be 65-year-old, you can be 70-year-old, and you might not be a man, because if you haven't done the work, I will not see you as a man. I will see you as an old boy. You are a boy. You have a boy-like mentality, right? If you are, this is gonna sound very stereotypical, but I don't give a shit. That's how I feel about it. So I'm gonna say what I feel. If you are in a relationship with a woman, and if you are not willing to fucking do whatever it takes to take the intruder down in order to protect her, if you're not willing to protect her with your life, if you're not prepared to be violent, I'm a non-violent person. I'm a pacifist. But fuck me if anyone would hurt my woman. Like, there's absolutely no way. Like, I'm just gonna look around. It's like, okay, which tool I'm gonna use to kill this motherfucker? I'm looking at this heavy coffee table here, right? And I'm completely non-violent. But if there is a fucking risk towards myself or someone that I care about, right? So it's not, and you know, I'm not short, right? I have a little bit of muscle tissue, not much, as you can see. It's nothing to do with size, right? You can have the biggest motherfucker who's a fucking pussy, right? Who's a fucking big teddy bear, and there's nothing wrong with teddy bears, but like, the size doesn't make you a man. The age doesn't make you a man. The amount of money you have, the fucking job title you have doesn't make you a man. Right? Yeah. It's about the attitude, right? You can be 18 and be a man, and you can be 65 and not be a man. You can be a fucking 6'3" and not be a man, and you can be a fucking, 5'5" and be a man. It's nothing to do with those things that young men especially think, oh, having big muscles and a Lambo, right? X amount of YouTube followers or, Instagram followers, that. No, you're just a boy with a Lambo, for the most part.
There's something coming up on, somebody sent it to me yesterday. It's coming up on Netflix. Louis Theroux has gone into the menosphere.
Okay.
I hadn't heard of before, but I kind of got what you were saying. And I mean, that's going to be gold dust for this conversation.
I like Louis Theroux. From like, I don't know what he's up to now, but I remember I'll make an educated guess that you've seen Pumping Iron.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay, so there is, for those of you who don't know, Pumping Iron is a documentary made 1970s with Arnold Schwarzenegger competing to become Mr. Olympia. Mr. Olympia or Universe? Which one is the bigger one? Mr.
Sure. Yeah, maybe. It sounds like Universe would be bigger, but...
Yeah, I think Olympia, Mr. Universe for the 7th time. Anyway, so the camera crew is following him and a bunch of other bodybuilders, and Louis Theroux's like his main competitor to win that title, right? And Arnold is having a fucking blast. Arnold is like 27, in his late 20s. He's having so much fun, right? Which is apparent when you watch Pumping Iron documentary, right? Whereas Louis Theroux, he's in his early 20s, and he's this fucking shitty gym in Brooklyn. His father, who is a police officer or retired police officer, is training him, and he's not having a great time. He's doing the reps, he's doing the training, he's going through the training, but he's not having a good time. And that's apparent when you watch this thing, right? Anyway, there is, where I'm going with this, there is another documentary done, I presume by the producers of the Pumping Iron, maybe 10 years after recording Pumping Iron.
All right.
And Arnold is not there. I don't think Arnold is there. Maybe he is. I can't remember. Anyway, Louis Theroux is there. I only remember one thing from the documentary, how Louis said that he doesn't envy Arnold all the championships that he's won and all the prizes that none of that. He envies him how much fun he had in the process, how much he was enjoying the process, right? I thought, how interesting is that, right? Because then I thought, that's definitely apparent when you watch Pumping Iron. One is really enjoying the process of training, and one is really struggling. So you can tell that this man over here, Arnold, has done at least some amount of personal development by then. And to Louis Theroux's credit, he's much younger. He's a few years younger, right? So Arnold has this age advantage, right? He had more time to figure things out, and he's been a champion for 6 years already, right? So that's just like, to be fair to the other. But yeah, when you think about it, at the end of the day, like, what's the most important in life, right? To win a prize, to get a certain title, or just to enjoy the day-to-day Like whatever it is that you do, doesn't matter what it is that you do, right? Like what's the most important, right? Like I know what's the most important for me. And I think too many people, unfortunately, have the wrong idea as to what's going to make them happy. And they put the attention on the wrong things as opposed to committing to, as I said before, to the path of personal development, right? And taking the time to learn who they are, what they want, and working on themselves, as opposed to something that Jim Rohn talks about. Maybe you heard his quote when he said how we want to work harder on ourselves than we do on our job.
Say that again.
We want to work harder on ourselves than we work on our job.
Yeah, that's true, right?
That's from Jim Rohn, right? Who was Tony Robbins. You mentioned Tony Robbins before. Tony Robbins' first mentor.
Really?
Yeah. Check him out. There is for anybody listening, if you put Jim Rohn, so Jim standard spelling, and then Ron is R-O. If you put Jim Rohn 1981 on YouTube, you'll get a 2-hour long recording of Jim Rohn in his speaking. And again, just like Arnold and Pumping Iron, you watch the Jim Rohn 1981 vintage, and you see a man who's fucking loving his life. It's just apparent. Yeah, he's just having fun.
I wonder who Arnold's mentors were.
What's his name? Because he's Reg Park, I think is the name of this guy.
Yeah.
Yes. And that's how he got into bodybuilding. He saw Reg Park on the cover of the bodybuilding magazine, and he went, I think he was 15, and he went, damn, I want to look like that. And I want to go to Hollywood as well. So he had this whole fucking plan, I'm going to become a bodybuilder. That's going to get me to California. And then I'm going to get into movies. I don't know how old he was when he had this, when he started thinking about acting, but he was definitely very young. So it's quite, or more than quite, it's rather remarkable that he had so much self-awareness and like his intuition was so strong at such a young age, long before the internet. It's like he could get inspiration from YouTube, right? Listening to podcasts like this, right? Or reading. Well, there were some personal development books already, but I don't think he had access to it in a village in Austria in 1950s and then 60s, right? When he was a teenager in 1960s. So, I don't think there was, and his father was a police officer and his mother was a housewife. I don't think there was much personal development material in the house. But yeah, he just had this thing, he just went for it. And he was definitely one of the men that I was, when I was younger, in my 20s and early 30s, one of the men I was looking up to and trying to learn as much as possible from.
So what do you think the major levers that you personally pulled which helped you arrive?
There's only one lever that I pulled, and that's doing personal development, like I said, for 11 years.
Just keep going.
So that's, just reading. And so when I was 23, internet was there, but it was like early stage of internet, right? So it was mainly books, just working on myself, just working on bettering myself, across the areas of my life I cared about. Things like dating, confidence, fitness, leadership, right? Just step by step, brick by brick, long before I knew that I want to be a coach, right? I was just working on myself. And then at 28, so 5 years after getting to personal development, I had this eureka moment. My calling found me, and then I basically turned my passion into career by becoming a coach and sharing the things I've learned from the likes of Jim Rohn and Tony Robbins and Arnold and all those guys with other people. And then few years later arriving. So I haven't arrived just yet when I became a coach. I was a baby coach to begin with. I was a young man. I was 28. When you think about it, 28 for a life coach, that's fucking young, right? There are not many 28-year-old life coaches I would recommend to people unless those people are very young themselves, right? But, it's okay because I was charging very little. So I was charging, the fee that made sense given that I knew very little, right? I had very little experience. I knew something, but I had little experience. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Because like I said, I was immersed in personal development for a long time prior to becoming a coach. So I knew something. And I definitely knew about personal development way more than my clients, right? Because I was into it for 5 years up to that point. But yeah, it's just, and I'm still obviously, like the personal development journey never ends, never stops. Like like I said, I arrived as a man at 34. You can never arrive as a human being. Arrive as in, there's nothing else I can learn. Right? I've arrived. I'm sure if we asked Buddha or one of those guys, Jesus or Mohammed, the day before they checked out, where they are on a personal development journey, they wouldn't say, I've arrived a long time ago. There's nothing else for me to learn.
Yeah.
Those guys will be the first ones to say, excuse me, that the personal development work never stops. We can always become better, and I can see, like clearly every year I'm becoming better version of myself. My life, like I said, has been consistently really fucking good for the last 9 years, but I'm getting better and better in all aspects of my life. And that will never stop, right? But it's fine tuning. It's a for the most part, it's a micro level stuff, right? But it starts with asking ourselves, what is it that we want? Okay, getting answer to that question. If we don't know, get yourself a fucking coach so we can help you fucking get the answer to that question. And then the next question is, okay, so now that I know what I want, the next question is, what do I need to do to get it? And then again, you can do it yourself, or you can get a coach of some sort to help you get it. If it's a fitness goal, get yourself a fucking PT. If it's a career-related coach, get yourself a life coach or career coach of some sort. If it's like whatever it is that you need help with, there is someone, when you think about it, someone whose day job is to help people like you with that thing you need help with. Why not use them? And it's not like all coaches are very expensive. When I first started, I was charging £20 per session. Even, as you know, Ben, even a homeless person in this country can afford that. I heard that they make 30K per year. This is like something I had 10 years ago. The beggars in the streets of London, they make 30K per year, tax free, because it's all cash, right? So when you think about it, even homeless people could afford me when I was charging £20 per session. And yes, I was new to coaching, but I was still getting results from my clients. They were not as profound as some of the results I get from my clients these days, because they didn't have the fucking experience yet, obviously. But they were getting results. So nobody can ever tell me, oh yeah, coaching, that sounds good, but I can't afford it. No, you can. You might not be able to afford to work with Tony Robbins, but you can afford to work with a coach, right? And that's the ultimate hack. That's personal development on steroids. You can read books, you can listen to audio materials, podcasts like this, you can follow people on Instagram, on TikTok, you can go to events, you can do group coaching, and this is like a pyramid, right? Like from the bottom, like this is good, and then it goes up and up. So like you have the content that you can consume, and it's written or video or audio, right? Then you can go to events, then you can do group coaching, and then the top of the pyramid is one-to-one coaching, because it's just you and a coach, right? So you're gonna get all the attention, and that attention will not be spread between you and 10 other people in the group, or it won't be spread between you and 999 people at the Tony Robbins event. But by the way, if you've been to 8 of 2, maybe it's time to change your strategy, right? Because like, oh, it's so good, I've been there 8 times. Well,
yeah, I've heard that so many times. I'm like,
what,
not cheap either, right? It's like $8,000 or something.
It's like, I understand, because like people get such extreme high from it. It's like, oh my God, I want to feel this high again. But like, can't you fucking tell this is not working in a way that...
It's just motivation.
Yeah. And it's not Tony Robbins' fault. It's nobody can change like 1,000 lives over 4 days from the stage. It's just impossible, right? Like it's coaching process. What makes it so incredible is that it's just, as I say, it's just you and a coach, right? And everything is about you and how we can make your life better.
It's very, very intimate, and
intimate is the word I use often. Actually, yes, it's very intimate. So there's no, and then if we talk about direct coaching, there's also no hiding, as in not so much hiding. You're going to be called out on things, right? So that can speed up the process even more, right? But it still takes a few months, right? Like I still wouldn't say, oh, just send someone over for a day, I'm going to change their life. It doesn't work like that. Because like it's a little bit of coaching, then someone needs to go out there and implement, and then, as you know, and then come back, and then more coaching, and then it's a process, right?
What do you feel like, you sort of touched on it there, but what makes a world-class coach?
Lots of experience combined with world-class clients. You cannot become, just like you cannot perform at the highest level as a football player playing for a shitty team like Manchester United, for example. You have to play for City.
It's lost on me, I'm afraid.
I'm a City fan. No, obviously Manchester United is not a shitty team, but imagine you are a very ambitious striker and you want to, like, you will never get the ball if your midfield is bad, and you will never get to Champions League if your goalkeeper is not good, if your defenders are not good, right? So same with coaches. I'm acutely aware that the reason why I have such high success rate and I get the results I get from my clients is because I work exclusively with high achievers, and not just any high achievers. Like, they're not just high achievers, they're also like amazing people, highly motivated. Yes, when they come to me, obviously their life is not perfect. They will come to me if it was, but there's no complaint. It's that story that I shared. This is like from, I think, not pre-COVID, 2021. Yeah, this is like, my clients don't complain. It was so like, what? My client is whining? What the fuck is that? It's such an exception to the rule, right? But there was only one other client whining since, a female client. So I didn't say the same thing to her because I wouldn't say that to a woman, right? So I just told her that I'm not interested in her whining.
And so was there a time where you just decided no longer working with a certain caliber of person, or maybe it's caliber word?
No. I've never quote unquote decided it. My fees have decided it. I don't need to like
say
my fees. When you get to a certain level of the fees that you charge as a coach, that automatically makes it impossible for non-high achievers to work with you. Right? So like I don't need to there's not much of a filtering I need to do. There's hardly any filtering. Almost everyone I meet for the initial consultation is a high achiever, is someone I could work with, because my website does the filtering for me. And a big part of that is the fees section of my website when I talk about my fee range. Even if you have money somehow, but you're not serious, you're not a serious operator, you're going to look at this fee range and be like, fuck, that's a lot. I'm not spending this much on myself.
Yeah.
I'm not spending this much on coaching, which is fair enough. Fucking don't. I'm fine with it. I don't know you. Like, all the best. So it's not just about having money, but also having a mindset of, I know I'm a serious fucking operator. I know that no matter how much I pay for coaching, I will make sure to get an ROI on it, return on investment on it, because I'm betting on myself. I am my own guarantee, right? So that fee doesn't scare me. Sometimes my clients don't have the money to work with me. They get the money anyway. In extreme cases, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5 clients, 4 or 5 clients I can think of straight away from the top of my head, who I know for a fact have taken loans to work with me, right? And there might be another 5 that I don't know about, as in they never shared that with me, right? So it's not just like, so you charge a lot, so you must only be working with rich people. No, that's not the case. Many of my clients are rich, but not all of them are rich. And certainly the ones who take loans to work with me are obviously not rich, right? They're just fucking committed. They're really fucking committed. They're really fucking serious. Not serious about me.
Yeah.
Not serious about working with me, Michael Serwa, or serious about fucking coaching even. They are serious about getting what they want. To the point of being willing to take a loan to bet on themselves at a very high level. Right? So that's your elite mindset right there. Right?
Yeah.
So yes, like I said, I'm acutely aware that my success as a coach is massively dependent on who I work with. Just like, to use another football analogy, you can be the best football coach on the planet and be super driven and hardworking, but when you work with a squad of 25 of me, 43-year-olds who don't like fitness, forget about winning fucking titles. It's just not gonna happen. You can be like, I'm gonna turn those guys into champions because I'm so, Pep Guardiola or Alex Ferguson back in his, taking 25 of me and trying to win a title. It's just not going to happen, right?
Yeah.
And those are great coaches. We all know that. They're objectively great coaches. Manchester United back in the day and Manchester City now, they also have some of the best players on the planet, right? So it's, yes, great coach, great team, less great now, still one of the best, right, in the UK. The Man United one. So it's just like in sports, same with personal coaching. We can only ever be as good as personal coaches as our clients, as the clients that we work with. So like one thing to add, it's this one other ingredient that's necessary for this to work. It's not just the experience of a coach and coachability of a client. It's also the chemistry between the two. That's the glue that holds it together, right? Because again, you can have the best coach on the planet. You can have the best athletes on the most talented, but if they don't fucking like each other, there's going to be problems, right?
No chemistry,
Yeah, so the chemistry is super fucking important, right? So it's those 3 ingredients. It's in no particular order. It's the competence of the coach, competence which massively comes from the experience more than anything else. Competence of the coach, coachability of the client, and the chemistry, the person-to-person human chemistry between the two of them.
Yeah, that's good. This is a good topic because there'll probably be a few coaches listening because I work with a few coaches, and there is a money story that many of, I will say us, me included, have around our fees. And so can you speak to that, and what kind of work did you do on your own money story I guess it's all just part of the personal development journey. It feels like it for me anyway, to level up to the point where you're like, yeah, I'm really comfortable charging this number and I know I can deliver the results at this number.
Yeah, so I was definitely struggling with that as well, just like most coaches. And it was a business coach, who made me stop charging per session. It was a year and a half into me coaching, and I was charging £100 per session at the time. It was Daniel Priestley's. Do you know Daniel Priestley?
Daniel Priestley.
Yeah. So Daniel Priestley was my business coach, but I also did some work with his dad, who is also a business coach.
Huh.
And it was Andrew Priestley who, back in 2013, got this idea of charging per session out of my head once and for all, because I was really struggling. Because it was like, Michael, you, like, both Daniel and Andrew, like, you have to charge £1,000 for a program. I'm like, fucking hell, £1,000. What the hell? I was making per month in my last job in retail. I was a retail manager before I became a coach. And this idea of charging £1,000, and it's like, fuck, that's so much money. How can I ask for £1,000? Like, to your point, like, is my coaching worth £1,000? Who's gonna want, But anyway, Andrew made me do it. just made me fucking do it. And then sure enough, my next 3 initial consultations, 3 people said yes to £1,000 back to back. And it's just, blew my mind. And then what happened since, so this is 2013, what happened since, I've only ever put my fees up when too many people were saying yes to working with me at any given time, right? So that's how I went from charging £1,000 per program to like what I'm charging right now. Like, this price would double and double and double and double and double multiple times. But like I said, it would only double when too many people. So from day one, I would always have a full coaching practice.
That's nice. Yeah.
So first,
because then you're not needy.
No, like I don't think there was ever a time where I felt needy or would come across as needy, because I've always had a lot of clients, right? But as I said before, I was charging £20 per session to begin with, right? So, and I had 20 clients paying £20 per session before I put my fee up to £50 per session. And then £75 per session, and then £100 per session. And then, so this was like easy, because this was like, okay, I'm comfortable going from 20 to 50. But the £1,000 paid up front is something I was really struggling with, right? That's the only one I was struggling with.
Yeah.
And that's when coaching was very helpful from Andrew Priestley to help me get over that hump, if you will.
Yeah, nice.
But then since then, it's like, oh, I have no choice. Let's say I'm charging 3K, fucking hell, too many people say yes, I don't have the time. So I have 2 options: put my fees up, or start saying no to people I want to work with because I just don't have the space. So like, what do? Well, you put your fees up, right? So that's how I got to where I got to. It wasn't like a case of like waking up one day thinking, oh, I like this number. And nothing wrong with that. It's just, that wasn't the case. That's not my story.
Yeah, nice. And so how did you get your first like 20 clients? Did you have some sort of, it sounds like you didn't have a program, it was just per session.
Yeah, there was no program. So my very first clients, the sun is like, I was checking the forecast, because I could close those blinds, but I think it's fine, because I was checking the weather forecast, like, do I need to close the blinds or not? But like, it was showing gray sky, no sun. So I was like, no, we're gonna be fine. We're gonna be fine.
Don't put the sun out now.
Yeah, just like,
you don't know when it's coming back.
When we started, it wasn't here, but now it came out. But I don't think many people are actually watching it. It's people. Well, I never actually watch podcasts. I listen to them personally, but I'm sure there are some people who watch it as well. But so yeah, my first few clients came through Gumtree.
Gumtree, wow.
So for those of you who don't know what Gumtree is, the younger audience who definitely doesn't use fucking Gumtree. I'm not sure if Gumtree even exists anymore, but it's a place where you could, and probably you still can, I don't know, like, I would like get a tutor, like nanny, like buy a car, like can't really remember, right? But like you could you could place an ad on Gumtree. In 2011, you could place an ad for a month for £7. Right? So I had my little listing there, £7 per month. And I got my first clients through that. And then I started running little events using the platform called meetup.com, another fucking dinosaur of a platform. So I had 3 groups, one for men when I was talking about dating, one for women when I was talking about dating, and one for men and women when I was talking about non-dating related topics.
So you were advertising that you were a dating coach early on.
No. I've never been a dating coach. I had a group. I had group for men. As a life coach, I've always been a life coach from day one. As a life coach, I had a group for men where I was talking about dating. And I also had a group for women when I was talking about dating. Mm-hmm. But my biggest group was the one for men and women when I was talking about other topics, right? But just to give you the sense of the scale, in 2012 alone, so my first full year of coaching, I've organized and delivered around 200 talks. I was relentless. Nobody has ever worked as hard as I have, to the best of my knowledge, in this country. And the only coach I know of that has worked and still does harder than me is Tony Robbins. Like it wasn't normal. The amount of effort I put into it to get myself to the 100K level was enormous. Like I've never worked this hard prior or since. I had the first 2.5 years where I put I was single, just broke up with someone after a few months of coaching, and I made a strategic decision not to date, like at all, not to drink, not to go out, not to travel, not to do anything other than just fucking head down and fucking work. And when you do that over a period of time, you will create some momentum, and that momentum will help you to get to where you need to get to. And then what I've been doing so the last 12 years, I've been benefiting from the momentum that I've built, the reputation that I've built for myself, right? And things have been much easier, right? But the amount of effort, like even like looking back, I'm thinking to myself sometimes, where did I get the fucking energy and motivation from to work this hard? Because it wasn't normal, Ben. Like you don't see that often, it's one of those Alex Hermosi, Tony Robbins stories, when you hear about those Arnold Schwarzenegger stories, that it was that amount of effort, right? It was non-stop from the first minute to the last minute of the day, 7 days a week for the first 2.5 years. It was just non-stop coaching, thinking how to get clients, prospective clients, doing whatever it took, running those events, writing the fucking book. I say fucking because I didn't enjoy the process at all. But, Daniel Priestley told me it's a good idea. I was like, fuck it. This guy seems to know what he's talking about. Yeah. Let me write a book, So
I didn't know you'd written a book.
Sorry?
I didn't know you had a book.
Yeah, fucking great job on the research front, Ben.
I didn't do any. This is kind of
that's pretty apparent from the start. Don't worry.
I've been
on this rodeo before.
That's cool though. And I think that's still a really valuable thing to hear as a coach who maybe is just starting, because I do quite a few talks, and talks are really powerful. But then you have then a lot of people who can't talk in front of people, and I had that too. But I think that's just
I had a fear of public speaking as well until I didn't.
Until you didn't, yeah.
So it wasn't like I can't wait to give my first talks. Like no, I identified that this could be one way to get clients, so I did what I had to do. I didn't look forward to the first one. Like after a while, it was okay. I was kind of enjoying it for the most part. Not kind of enjoyed it. I was enjoying it, but it's never been my. Hence, I'm not doing it now, right? I haven't given a talk in, 8 years maybe, because It's never been my goal to be on the stage. I'm good at it. I'm a confident public speaker because I've done it 250 times in total, approximately. So you would see me on the stage and be like, oh, this guy's fucking just he's got it. Like, yes, I know how to do it. Just like I know how to write books. I wrote one. There's a proof right there. But there's a reason why there's no other 5 that I've written after this first one, because just because you know how to do something doesn't mean you want to do it. And if I don't have to, which I don't, public speak or write books, then I don't, since I don't enjoy it too much. I don't dislike it, but I don't enjoy it.
So now you've built that momentum. Is it mainly just referrals that you get in?
No. It's not mainly referrals. Oh. Whoever tells you they can build your, I'm not going to name any names, but you will probably know, and some of the coaches listening, whoever tells you they can build your coaching business through referrals only is full of shit.
Now that's good to know. So what's your...
It's fucking nonsense. It's fucking nonsense. There isn't a single successful coach on the planet who's built his business or her business through referrals only. It's nonsense. It sounds fucking great. That's why it's very attractive to, you know,
books.
It's very compelling, you know, it's a very compelling pitch because it sounds very attractive, sounds very easy.
Yeah.
And we are fundamentally lazy, myself included, right? So it's like, oh, this sounds easy. Someone's going to teach me how to build a fucking coaching business through referrals only. Fucking hell. I don't need to do any marketing. Like, yeah, good fucking luck. Now, use your fucking brain, right? And I'm not saying that to you. I'm saying to use your fucking brain and try to get a sense of how big of a business that coach has built. Not the business of teaching coaches how to make money from coaching, but the actual coaching business.
Right.
And what you will find more often than not, that there isn't one.
Yeah.
Right? And it doesn't take that fucking long to figure this out, because 5-minute research, try to find a single testimonial from someone other than a coach linked to that coach who's teaching you or trying to teach you how to make money from coaching, right?
That's good to hear.
Yeah. So like, yes, I get referrals. I have 2 clients right now out of 10. I have around 10 clients at any given time.
Yeah.
Yes. So yeah, at this stage, I could survive. I could survive from referral, from the money I make through referrals. I could survive, but I couldn't leave my lifestyle. I couldn't pay my fucking $7,000 per month rent on referrals only and call my expense like all of the above, all the traditional marketing. You know, you absolutely need to have a shit hot website. You absolutely need to have a great fucking testimonials. You absolutely need to market yourself in the traditional sense. Right? Whoever tells you that you don't is full of fucking shit. I'm calling them out the same way I was calling out the therapists who tell people you need me. It's bullshit.
Good to hear, because I've definitely been sucked into that a little bit. But I've noticed that I don't get referrals from coaches, obviously, because once they're at where they need to be, they're getting their own clients. They're not going to send them over to you. And generally the work you do with people is quite private and they don't want to talk about it they don't just talk about it with other people.
That's the story that some of those coaches might be telling people, but that's not true. Look at my fucking testimonial page.
Right. Yeah, I do get. I'm talking about me personally. I do get testimonials.
Yeah, no, but it's like, yeah. So you know, you're absolutely right in the sense that whether you work with quote unquote normal people or highly successful people, yes, many of them will not want to go and talk about the fact that they've worked with you and especially what they worked on. But if you work with enough people, you will get enough testimonials.
Yeah. I agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah. So like the argument, that's not your argument. I'm saying like the coach, like, oh yeah, no, yeah, but I work with a very high caliber people and high profile people, and they don't leave testimonials. Yes, like I agree. Those people are the least likely to leave those testimonials. Yeah. But again, if you work with enough of them, which if you are as successful as you claim you are, you will, some of them will leave you a testimonial. So if there isn't any, it's because you don't work with any people who are not coaches. So how on earth are you are in a position to advise coaches how to make money from coaching? If your only source of income is from teaching coaches how to make money from coaching.
The self-licking lollipop again.
Come on. And I don't blame those coaches. I don't blame those coaches who do that, because there's nothing wrong with it, unethical about it. I question the intelligence of people who only listen to those guys. Yeah. I think you are just being, you've been taken for a ride.
Yeah.
You're just not being very wise. So maybe it's good to rethink your, strategy.
Yeah. Nice. That's really good. I'm conscious of time. I feel like we could probably talk for 3 hours if we wanted to. I did do some research on you. I did look at your web. You are coaching coaches, is that right? Mm-hmm. As well. And if somebody wants to get in touch with you, if they heard something they liked in this recording, how do they go about doing that?
If they want to, they'll find a way, I'm sure.
They'll figure it out. Nice.
Yeah. Googling Michael Serwa might be a good first step, but
fucking Google.
No, but on a serious note, michaelserwa.com, everything is there, everything that I do, all the links to everything, such as my book, the social media platforms I'm on. I'm particularly active on LinkedIn. I have also quote unquote presence on Instagram, YouTube. I'm actually about to release what I believe is the best course for coaches ever made.
Oh, nice.
yeah, this weekend, most likely. The final touches. I'm a perfectionist, so it's been taking, it's been taking many, many hours to get to this point when I'm like happy with it, so
Cool.
so yeah, but yes, I've been working with coaches ever since I got to that 6-figure level. So it didn't even cross my mind to work with coaches before I made it myself, because I felt, how the fuck am I going to teach someone something that I haven't learned myself, right? And equally, coaches were not coming to me for mentoring when I was a baby coach, so it made kind of sense. But then yes, I definitely been working with coaches for a long time now. I see that as a bit of like a thing on the side, so most of my clients at any given time are civilians, as I call them. So like, I was talking earlier how I work on average with 10 people at any given time. Around 70 to 80% of them are civilians, and then 20 to 30% of them are coaches. And then last year, it was like one of my team, he just wouldn't fucking stop talking about it. The course, well, just a fucking course, so but it's, fuck it, yeah, let's do this course, right? And it meant to be 2 days in the studio. It turned out to be 4, 25 hours of footage, 15 total, because 2 cameras, but we've condensed it to 2.5 hours. So it's a more of a masterclass than the course. It's called How to Build a 6-Figure Coaching Business. And sure enough, yes, I mentioned referrals. There's a little mention of like referrals, like how that's one of the ways to get clients, but it's very much focused on traditional marketing, because that's the only way. That's the surest way, safest way to get yourself clients, by running ads, by creating content, by engaging in traditional marketing type activities, right? And then the referrals, if you get referrals, think about it as an icing on the cake, but that's never going to be the cake.
Yeah. Nice. And what else are you working on? I know you say you don't have any specific goals, but you are creating things in the world. What are you creating at the moment?
Nothing. I create radical, nothing beyond creating radical transformations for my clients. And this course, like I said, it's something that, if somebody asked me 12 months ago if I'm going to have a course, if I'm going to be releasing a course, I'd be like, I don't think so. So it's like one of those things where, if people are interested in it, they get it. That's wonderful. If they're not interested in it and it doesn't sell, I'm equally okay. Like it's just one of those things. Like, I put my fucking heart into it. And for anyone even checking out the trailer for it, right? So that's apparent. I'm not sitting there, just, okay, go on, come on, guys. What do you want to, direct me? Like, no, like if I do something, I give my 100%, right? So it's, I think it's a hell of a course, right? I think it's fucking, both in terms of content as well as the production side of things, right? Like it's been produced beautifully by my brilliant team, but obviously that's not the most important. The most important is the content. Like I'm acutely aware of it. It's like, look at this movie, it's so beautiful, but the plot is so shit, right? But the actors are so beautiful, and the costumes are so, and the interior design is like, yeah, but the plot is fucking flat. It's boring, right? So but who's to say that we have to choose one or the other, right? So I wanted to provide great content, but also to package it beautifully from a visual side of things and the sound side of things and quality side of things, right?
Yeah.
But other than that, Ben, I'm certainly not working. People ask me sometimes, so are you working on your second book?
What was the motivation behind doing the course? You said you didn't want to do it. One of your team said to do it.
Yeah, no, because it's just because I recognize that it's a smart thing to do, because I recognize that there's so many coaches out there who would like to learn from me.
Yeah, exactly.
Who can afford it.
Yeah.
Because they're not crazy enough like some others to take a loan and they're just like, it's too much, because we're talking about tens of thousands of pounds, right? Like, it's a lot of money, right? But this course will it will cost, to begin with anyway, we'll see $1,000,
Nice.
Now, if a coach is serious about growing the coaching practice and they say they can't spend tens of thousands of pounds, that's fair enough. But if they say they're serious about growing the coaching practice and they can spend $1,000, they're just not serious, right? Now, whether or not they want to learn from me, that's a different story, right? But nobody can convince me that $1,000 is, if you live in a developed country, that you can't get hold of $1,000, right? Get a fucking part-time job in McDonald's for 2 months, and that's your $1,000, right? Like become a Deliveroo or Uber Eats delivery guy and get your extra $1,000, you know? When there's a will, there's a way. But yeah, it was just a smart thing to do. It's like the book. Like my heart wasn't in it, but it's just like, oh, it just makes logical sense. It will help, you know, like let's fucking do it. Fuck it. Yeah, let's do it. But yeah, I'm very proud of it. It was like, oh, you know, like my approach was not very enthusiastic to it. You know, it's like, oh, okay, fuck it, let's do it. But like again, you know, when I do something, then it's like, okay, it's like since I'm doing it, I might as well do my best and create something, you know, something that is great, right?
Yeah.
Or if not, I'm just not going to touch it at all, you know? So I thought since I'm going to be doing it anyway, I might as well make it as good as possible. And like I said, I'm very proud of it. I've watched it twice, not because I wanted to watch it twice. I felt like once was enough, but then I watched it again just to double check everything, you know? So it's like, I fucking love myself, but not to the point that I want to watch myself for hours, you know? So
It's
like,
good
fuck.
that, you know, because a lot of the coaches type coaches are American. I think it's quite cool that, I know you're Polish origin, but British enough to
Yeah, no,
good
I
to have
definitely.
a British voice in the scene.
I'm a trans Londoner, Ben. I'm a Londoner trapped in the Polish body. I was born in the wrong country.
Yeah.
In the wrong city, in the wrong country. This is the city and country I should be born in. But you know, I made the adjustment. I righted the wrong at 22.
Yeah.
I moved here. But yeah, you know, it's been incredible 14 and a half years because I believe we have the best profession in the world. You know, changing lives and getting paid for it. I don't get the same level of enjoyment. I do enjoy working with my mentees, the coaches I work with, but it's more for business coaching, obviously, right? It's not life coaching. So like my favorite is life coaching. That's where most of my joy and income comes from. But I do enjoy working with coaches as well. And even though it's harder than working with civilians, it's more repetitive, you know, but it also provides variety, right? It's different. And coaches who come to me, they come to me at different stages. Interesting enough, one of my current mentees is the chair of ICF. And I say interesting enough because my coaching style, as you know, is so different to what ICF teaches in terms of how we should coach, right? So imagine my surprise when she reached out to me, and name is Liz, when she reached out to me for the initial consultation a few months ago. That was before she became the chair of ICF, but I already knew from her LinkedIn that she was a senior figure, a senior official within ICF. She was on the board of ICF. And I thought, I told her that. I thought, really? When I saw her. Anyway, we had a consultation, went well, and she became a client. Earlier this year in Jan, she became the new chair of ICF, which is great because she's great, and that's good for the coaching industry as a whole.
Yeah. Wow. Congratulations.
To her, first of all, and yeah.
Well, and to you, you know, maybe they'll want you to be getting involved somehow. Who knows?
Yeah, we have some projects in the pipeline. You know, it's like we joked about it with Liz, how it's like, you know, what did she, how did she put it? Not the angel and the devil, not the saint but like, yeah, it's like we, like, you know, we are different, but very similar at the same time, right?
Yeah.
And it's, you know, it's big credit to her and her open-mindedness to you know, to work with someone who's been openly anti rules and anti-qualifications, not anti as in don't get qualification, coaching qualification. It's more about how I don't think you need it. And like, if you have it, that's fine, but don't worry about it. You don't need to have it, right? And she knew that was my stance because I've been very vocal about it for years. And she's been following me for years, as I've learned, right? And despite of that, she still was smart enough. She's super smart. She was smart enough to think, okay, but like, there are some things I can learn from him, I think.
Yeah.
Let's have a conversation and see what happens. And then what happened was she stuck with me for 12 months since September, at least 12 months, you know, so that's what happened.
Awesome.
No, but we have some projects in the pipeline which will benefit the coaching industry, which will benefit the world as a whole, Ben, you know, so I'm definitely going to heaven. I'm definitely going to heaven, guaranteed. If there is heaven and hell, I know where I'm going. So, yeah.
That's amazing.
So yeah, I'm not worried about that. The judgment day, you know, if that thing is a thing, I'm not worried about it, you know. I'm going to be there like, okay, motherfuckers, which way to heaven? Yeah, okay, like this. Spare me the fucking spare me the formalities. Which way to heaven?
Just let me know where to go.
Exactly. See you later.
Michael, appreciate your time. This has been a wonderful conversation.
Thanks for having me, Ben.